Big game up in Tuscaloosa this weekend, and I can say up because I live about 4 hours south of there. But anyway, the Alabama Crimson Tide takes on the Tennessee Volunteers. This is a semi-rivalry, and I say semi because Tennessee was in the doldrums for a few years. But I ran into a fan last year at the Publix who had on a Tennessee shirt, and I said, "Hey, you guys going to have a good year this year?" And he said, "I don't know why you'd say that." So I think a lot of them, the Tennessee fans, had lost the faith, and Tennessee, the Volunteers, proved them wrong. And as far as a rivalry, I moved from northern Alabama, and then this rivalry crosses states and blends fans and separates families because there are a lot of Tennessee fans in northern Alabama and a lot of Alabama fans in south central Tennessee. So let's take a look at this game. First of all, the schedules. You can see that the overall records are very similar. Alabama's played and won an extra game. They only have one common opponent, Texas A&M, and they played each other recently. The thing to note on that schedule is while Alabama has had 3 away games and won all of them, Tennessee, this will be their second, and they lost their only away game to a semi-struggling Florida team. So that's going to have some impact on this game. When you look at the numbers in terms of offense, you'll see that neither team has really lived up to their past history, with Alabama having a total ranking in their offense, total offense of number 85 in the nation. And Tennessee isn't a whole lot better because the numbers get close once you get into the lower half of 32. Third down efficiencies, Alabama's slightly better, but they're pretty close. But fourth down efficiency, Alabama has only gone for a couple of fourth downs. They made one of them, but Tennessee has gone for 9 of them. So I would expect to see some fourth down plays from the Tennessee Volunteers against Alabama. But of those 10, they've only made 3, and Alabama has stopped the majority of fourth down plays against them. Yards per game, very similar. Pass ranking, Alabama is slightly better, so that's really a wash there. Yards per attempt, though, in passing is fairly significant, with Alabama 30% more at almost 9.5 yards. Tennessee doesn't tend to throw the ball as far, with about 7 yards. And when you look at the completions, the separation is just slightly more, with Alabama 15 yards, almost 16 yards per completion, and Tennessee looking at right at 11 yards. Both, in terms of interceptions, haven't done spectacularly. They've given up the ball 4 times in key situations. The key to the offense is the line for Alabama, having given up 31 sacks. Which is better than throwing an interception, I suppose, but not as good as throwing the ball out of bounds. But 31 sacks could be a factor. The tendency for Milroe to go down instead of getting rid of the ball, getting it safely outside the boundaries. And Tennessee has done fairly well with giving up only 9 sacks over their first 6 games. Both have similar, exactly the same passing efficiency, or with about 61% for both teams. Rushing is where there's just a bit of difference. Alabama is at the bottom of the pool with surprisingly ranking number 71 in the nation in rushing, and that's given they have about the largest college football offensive line. And if you compare them to the NFL, like so many announcers like to do, they have the largest offensive line compared to any NFL team. Tennessee, on the other hand, has a rushing ranking of number 6 in the nation, so that's a mainstay of the Tennessee Volunteers. And you can see that in the yardage per game, with Tennessee gaining an average of 231 yards per game on the ground, and Alabama a mere 148 yards. Yards per attempt, Alabama's close to 4, but Tennessee is way up there at approaching 6 yards per carry. In terms of fumbles lost, which is generally a rushing issue, Alabama's lost 2 this year. Tennessee has lost 3 of the 10 or so that they've put on the ground. So that gives a rate of 1 fumble for every 137 carries for Alabama and 1 fumble per 79 carries for Tennessee. The chances of a fumble by either team are fairly low. When you look at the special teams, kickoff return negligible. The new rules in the NCAA a few years ago made kickoff returns fairly much negligible, although you do see the occasional pop for 105 yards or 102 yards for a touchdown. It doesn't happen as much as it used to. Punt yards on the return per attempt is only 6 yards for Alabama and 17 for Tennessee, but then again, there aren't that many returns to gather really good data. Field goal percentage is where there's a huge difference. Alabama, Will Reichard is 13 for 13. He's 100% again this year. And the field goal percentage for Tennessee is good, but it's only 9 of 11 for 82%. And ironically, you remember that it was a missed Will Reichard field goal last year that sealed the deal for Tennessee. But Alabama definitely has the edge. And then when you look at the punting yards, the average net, when all is said and done, they're very, very close with Alabama, about 3 yards per punt better. Really no clear advantage there. Let's switch over to the defensive side. And the yards against are very similar, within 10 yards. The national ranking and yards against almost exactly the same, as is the pass ranking. The run, Tennessee is slightly better, and the points allowed per game is almost exactly the same. So let's look at other issues or other factors that will affect this game. Number one, the passer rating. Milroe is 174.7, and that may surprise a lot of Alabama fans, but that is really up there. Milton's is not bad at 133, but definitely the nod goes to Alabama on the quarterback play. What is significant is the power index ranking. Who has the other team played, or who are the other teams? And you'll see that Alabama is significantly higher in the power ranking at number 7 in the nation. Tennessee drops to 16, so they have not had as solid a competition as Alabama. And if you look at the home game record for Alabama, it's 4-1. The away game record for Tennessee is 0-1. And yeah, they got had in the swamp, and they're not the first team nor the last team that will ever come in maybe superior to Florida and lose in that environment. But this year in Tuscaloosa, and I've been to one game, different going on in Tuscaloosa right now. The stadium there is absolutely rocking, even when Alabama's behind. So Tennessee is going to have to face the same kind of crowd that they faced in Florida. And finally, let's look at the one loss for each team. Alabama lost to number 8 Texas, and they're currently number 8. And Tennessee lost to an unranked and relatively struggling Florida team. So if you look at the summary here, who has the advantages where, in my opinion, the quarterback goes to Alabama with Milroe significantly higher in his ability to move the offense. The run offense itself goes to Tennessee. 6 yards per carry is an awesome number, and it's going to give Alabama troubles. If you look at the pass offense, again, the nod goes to Alabama with Jalen Milroe leading the offense. And ironically, on the defensive side, I'm going to give that one to Tennessee. Special teams, due to Will Reichard exclusively, is a nod to Alabama, as is the recency bias against the common opponent, Texas A&M. Alabama, I thought, controlled Texas A&M more than Tennessee. The game was close, 20-26, but I think Alabama could have scored a lot more, and it just ended up, the score is what it is. And the location is going to be significant. Tuscaloosa will be rocking. It's going to be loud. Tennessee had difficulties in their one other away game. It's only their second away game. So the location is going to have an impact. Let's see what the lines are. You can see the Vegas line there. Alabama is a fairly significant favorite at 8.5 points. It could change by kickoff time, and probably will. But Tennessee fans take heart. Alabama and the spread, just unbelievable how they can either blow it or blow it away or blow it. So Vegas has Alabama up, a fairly significant favorite, as does the ESPN matchup predictor, which gives Alabama a 76% chance of winning. What are my predictions? I think Alabama takes this game. Of course, if Milroe decides to throw some interceptions, if there's some broken plays in the secondary, that Tennessee's running game can take advantage of, that their passing game also can take advantage of, then Tennessee could keep this a lot closer, or they can even take the game. It's not an easy game by any stretch of the imagination for Alabama. Tennessee is highly ranked, and they're rightly in that spot. They have an awesome coach. They have a good, solid team with very talented players. The players are going to look very, very similar. The difference is going to be in Alabama's offense. I think it's going to give Tennessee a little bit more trouble than they've had with the weaker teams that they've played. Alabama has played solid teams on a couple of occasions, weak teams on others. 27-17, that's my prediction. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, helps the channel.